Peaches are central to Georgia's identity. They're in our songs, they're on our signs, even on our license plates. But what if our love for peaches turns out to be the result of one big historical misunderstanding? Well, today we're exploring a mystery about the origin of the Peach State. Hi, I'm Ariel with Unexpected Atlanta, the #1 rated food and history tour company in the city. Today, we're diving into Georgia's favorite fruit, peaches! There are few things more symbolic of Georgia than peaches, but how exactly did they come to be associated with our state? And are we sure they should be? Well, let's rewind. Peaches are believed to have originated somewhere in China around 6000 BCE. By the 1st century BCE, peaches had traveled from China to Europe through the Silk Road and were later scattered across the Americas by Spanish colonizers and Jesuit friars, who introduced them to the indigenous people. The Cherokee and Muskogee nations of Georgia were master agriculturalists and became experts at cultivating peaches. By the 1770s, the Cherokee were cultivating large peach orchards. Of course, they ate the fruit fresh, but they also barbecued it, dried, and stewed it. They used the bark, leaves, and pits to treat ailments like nausea, parasites, fever, and skin diseases. By the early and mid-1800s, trees and orchards were everywhere in Georgia. They needed little care and grew fruit within a few years. Peaches grew in such abundance in antebellum Georgia that peach brandy was nearly as common as apple cider. However, they were not sold commercially at the time because the fruit didn't really transport well. I mean, no one wants to bite into a rotten peach. Ugh. Peaches also played a significant role in the lives of the enslaved people of Georgia. Enslavers saw peach trees as an inexpensive and low-effort way to supplement the diet of the enslaved people. During harvest season, enslaved people were allowed to gather as much as 3 bushels of peaches a day. And at Christmas, they might even get peach brandy as a gift. Peaches were also essential for enslaved people during their escape to the north. Charles Ball wrote a famed account about escaping from slavery in Morgan County, Georgia, in 1807. He walked all the way from Georgia to Maryland, running at night, foraging for food from peach orchards and cornfields to sustain his journey. It's clear that peaches have been important to Georgia for hundreds of years. No wonder Georgia was nicknamed the Peach State, right? Well, there's actually some debate about the accuracy of that title. So to fill you in on the controversy, let's go back to look at how peaches became so popular. In the early 1800s, there were peach trees all over the state, thanks to the hard work of the Native Americans. The Muskogee people designated a huge peach tree near the Chattahoochee River as a meeting place. This was described in later years by the first postmaster of Atlanta as a great huge mound of earth, big as this house, where a big peach tree grew. Now, this peach tree was so important that the Muskogee named their village near it Pakanahuili, which translates to standing peach tree. The word Pakana in the Muskogean language means peach. The word wheelie in Muskogean means standing or tall. By 1782, Pakanahuili had become a notable trading post, and the United States military mentions it multiple times. They say they're going to meet Indians at the Standing Peach Tree. During the War of 1812, the village of Pakanahuili became the site for a U.S. infantry fort, Fort Peachtree. They even built a road connecting Fort Peachtree to Fort Daniel, and it was called Peachtree Road. Yeah, you guessed it. In 1870s, a Georgia man named Samuel Rumpf invented a new type of peach hybrid known as the Elberta. He named it for his wife. The Elberta became the most popular peach in the country. Though it was slightly less sweet than our current peach breeds, it survived shipping much better than other varieties of peach, and it became highly profitable. Rumpf's marketing was a big reason that the peach continued to explode in popularity. Peach festivals cropped up around the state, spurring on peaches as Georgia's favorite fruit. That demand drove up peach prices and value. In 1909, cotton was more heavily valued than peaches, but by 1924, an acreage of peaches was valued double that of cotton. All right, so this is where the big controversy comes into play. In 1928, the Atlanta Historical Bulletin claimed that the original name was actually derived from a pitch tree or pine tree, and that Peachtree is actually a corruption of this term. This stems from the idea that northern Georgia gets a lot more pine trees than peach trees, and that several white citizens had heard stories from their grandparents or relatives that the name was derived from a pitch tree. Now, this pitch tree theory has been largely debunked because it completely overlooks the Muskogean language. The Muskogee word for pine tree is cool, which sounds nothing like Pakana. So the translation of Pakanahuili as standing peach tree is almost certain to be correct. Now, the pitch tree theory, it might seem harmless, but it's part of a larger issue where the contributions of the indigenous people, like the Muskogee, are being erased. Understanding the correct history helps keep their stories alive, and that's why we say Peachtree. Today, Georgia is no longer the #1 producing peach state, but our history certainly makes our peaches stand out. If you haven't tried one yet, come on down, taste it for yourself. I bet you'll agree.